let's understand what it has in store for us, and I'm sure it's going to be a learning journey throughout this entire episode. So what is conversation? Conversation is an ability or a discussion between two people. So I have to really explain, conversation is supposed to be an opportunity to meet someone new. So when I say an opportunity, not every time opportunity knocks your door. So you just have to be mentally ready in terms of being available to make that effective conversation, to make your presence felt in the discussion you're having with a stranger, in terms of information exchange having with somebody at a bus stop or at a grocery store. So conversation is supposed to be an opportunity to meet someone new. And this is also can help, this is also helping in a lot of ways, that is conversation, to bond with new people, to share your common interests with the new people, and basis on this effective conversation you create that spark of connection. That spark of connection can be everlasting. This can actually make you more effective in personal and as well as professional networking sector. So in case you're looking out for any specific promotions, any specific appraisal to your work, to your job title, then certainly these sparks that you have created, meeting up with new set of people, can assist you be one of the most referred and preferred person by the strangers and the network, in the network group that you are at. To understand this more, let's also understand, well, it is also supposed to be a natural and flowing experience from both the parties when you are in conversation, where the right thing to say comes out effectively. So you have to be very careful in terms of what right thing you're talking about, and not giving out information for the sake of giving out information. You need to be effective, of course. It's supposed to be anxiety free, that is, you're not shivering, you have like relaxed body language where you can focus on connecting with the other person through the conversation. So, and this can help you build that amount of trust, this can help you build that specific rapport with the person. To understand this, instead of worrying about how you are coming across, that is, how do I appear, how do people perceive me, how would people look at me, let's not worry on those lines, but instead focus on something. Unfortunately for many people, conversation isn't much fun. Not everybody likes conversing, for simple reason that is not everybody's cup of tea. Not that you can't improve communication or conversation skills, but not everybody is adaptive to the fact of learning what effectiveness is in conversation, and not everybody likes to be corrected and seek feedback. So that is where the whole concern comes into the picture, that why it is important that we learn certain rules, tricks for trades before we actually present ourselves in front of people. So maybe that includes you and me, that we might not be okay with conversation, not always, maybe on certain specific instances we might like talking, we might like communicating, we might like interacting with people. Maybe you feel anxious and stressed, that is also one of the reasons, that's been proven by a lot of study and research work. The number one predator for being anxious or somebody who is like terribly stressed is public speaking. And isn't it really what you say, astonished news to hear by, because why do people in fact get to a level of being that stressed when they're just connecting with strangers, where they don't have to really owe a lot in conversation. Maybe you're just listening to the person, maybe you're just like being there with the person in the group, or just talking to the person one to one, but still we stress a lot. So when I say stress, I do not mean sentence and word stress, which are also part of topics for effective conversation skills, but I certainly mean stressing yourself, completely burning out yourself and having all sort of negative thoughts and apprehensions. During conversation that others seems to enjoy, we might feel stressed. That is also one of the reasons that that has come out very evidently why people do not focus or rather listen to the conversation while it is happening. Maybe because the conversation tend to sputter, that is there are a lot of information exchange which is happening, and maybe you're not able to concentrate and give it back in terms of your own effective responses. and you might not be sure how to keep them going. One of the possible way is when we are not really sure how to keep a conversation flowing and how to keep a conversation smooth. The reasons I am discussing all these points and all these reasons behind, why people are afraid, why public speaking is still one of the most non-preferred options by many amongst us, is today's session is going to help you maintain flow, help you maintain that the smoothness, the fluency in your conversation. The entire program effectiveness can only be possible when you start practicing, and we suggest and recommend you that each lesson that you listen, you go back and put that in the application form, and then move ahead, practice till you make yourself really comfortable and you come out of your comfort zone too of not speaking English. So understanding there has to be meaningful connection in each conversation that you are having with the others, but you're not really sure how to do so. So in case, like I said, it has to be a meaningful conversation. In case you're not able to give out a meaningful conversation, then we have to really sit back and look forward as to why is it happening in terms of being sensible while you're exchanging the piece of information. So it is important that you have to make sure that how to take your conversation beyond small talk into a deeper level. Let me explain you this topic specifically in detail for your better understanding. So this is one of the most important technique to make your conversations effective. So small talk is nothing but how would you get started in conversation, how would you break the ice between two people. For example, you are being seated in a railway station and the other person is being seated in a railway station as well, and maybe out of curiosity you want to check the train timings, or maybe just to be on a safe environment you want to start connecting with people. So how you basically start the conversation is what your small talk is all about. So while small talk have certain do's and don'ts, you cannot go ahead and talk anything and everything under the universe. Like culturally in India, there are a lot of people who do not obey the very reason of why small talk is into existence and why it is important for me to follow the rules. And we have strict rules that are being given under do's and strict rules that are being given under don'ts. So the strict rules that are being given under don'ts are, so you're not supposed to talk to a stranger about their religion, or for that matter your religion as well, the gender, you're not supposed to talk about politics, you're not supposed to talk about any disease or health issue with anyone. Okay. So bear my handwriting, I'm so sorry about this. So you're not supposed to talk about religion, you're not supposed to talk about gender, politics, disease or any health concerns with the strangers. So it is important that I follow this simple rule of connection. These things get on to be on a very personal front, and not everybody is comfortable to answer you what religious practices that he or she is doing. Not everybody is okay to answer the question on gender, because there is so much of third gender concerns that we all are facing, and I guess we all have to accept the fact that there is a third gender and it comes out as an entrant, and yeah, we have to just acknowledge them, start respecting them. Then we have politics is one of the concerns that we all face while we exchange verbal thoughts which are not accepted and acknowledged by the opposite person. So it could be a stranger who could like a certain political party, or maybe he or she is affiliated with certain political party, and you give out your own views and thoughts which will not be always accepted and acknowledged. So be very careful and kind out there. Health issues, in case the person is undergoing certain health issues, or they just underwent operation, or they've been just hospitalized and stepped out, you're not supposed to get into a detailed mode of getting the information, rather just understand, respect the boundary. In case they open up and they share the information is where you should be okay to take up the information. If not, you're just drawing the line out there. These are the simple don'ts to make your relationship effectively, wonderful as an experience. These are the don'ts that can help you to sound more professional, to sound somebody like a person who is respectful, who is there in terms of building up the trust. So people will start respecting you and form the trust in you. So once again, the don'ts are: religion, gender, politics, disease and health is not supposed to be discussed with the strangers or anybody whom you're connecting with. In fact, for that matter, this is not even a topic to be discussed with your good friends. For simple reason, not everybody would be comfortable to share their health concerns, the salary as a topic, religion, gender and politics for that matter. So the do's, now that we have discussed about don'ts, let's see what do's can we practice to be more effective in our conversation and to take our conversation skills in a very great experience. So the do's are simple, like hobbies, the weather condition, the recent holiday the person has been to, what are the likes or dislikes of a person, what is a recent achievement the person has made, what was a recent vacation that he or she planned but couldn't make it. So these are the basic do's that you can follow, and this has been recommended and suggested that each time we follow this, we can make not just the relationship good and build that amount of trust, but you can certainly make the overall experience with the person is good and professional too, with the amount of right amount of soft skills which is really needed. So soft skills as a word has been defined in order to understand the fact that the basic rules of life, that is the necessities of how to behave, how to present ourselves in front of public, in front of a group of people, or maybe when you're interacting face to face with a person. So when you are immensely following soft skills, you can never go wrong. That's something you have to keep in mind of. So basic questions can be weather. So when you're asking a weather question to a person to connect and build that bond, ensure that you know the weather condition of your own country and state or city for that matter, because I'm sure the question might come back to you stating what is the weather condition at your place. So you should be in a position to really share the weather condition or the climatic condition of your own place before you go, before you actually go ahead and attempt to ask the person. So conversations beyond small talk can not always be into a deeper level. For simple reason, small talk can actually make you believe the hope and trust in the person, can also take your conversation into a more deeper level. So whatever your struggle is, maybe we have to all practice conversation to make our conversation skills effective. So there are a lot of easy to apply guides, and certainly we have techniques that we are going to help you today in this video tutorial or maybe in the following video tutorial in order to make your conversation effective, in order to make your conversation really impressive too. So in order to master the principles that make conversation work, there is no vague advice or snake oil given. So it is something, it is very simple, it is very simpler. There is no complexity attached to it. You just have to practice and make sure that each time you are practicing, you follow this as a technique, and I am sure that can come naturally to you. So there is no vague advice, like I said, just concrete advice that has worked for many, the technique that I am going to talk in a while, and this has been proven technique again, which really worked for me as well, which has worked for the other senior folks of mine in the corporate industry. And all you have to do is just begin with the fact to understand the technique and put it across. So the secret of conversation flowing, so there has to be some secret as well in order to maintain the conversation. You just have to make sure that some conversations flow smoothly and others splutter or feel awkward, and we all go through this stage of life. So the acceptance has to be from your end. Few conversations that can go smoothly could be because you're confident. Maybe that particular state of mind, you were very positive. Maybe the person whom you met was somebody whom you look up to, or maybe you're well versed with the topic that you were interacting for. These are the basic things that, maybe because of this the conversations can go good. But however, if you are in a situation where you feel awkward, where you've been questioned about your own ability to speak and communicate, that could be for various reasons again. And one failure can never define the, what you say, the attitude towards your learning, attitude towards your success. This particular awkward experience of your conversation should only be taken as an example, should only be worked towards making it more effective and making it more sound, quite professional in its matter. So I explained, we just have to get these words familiarity, that is words such as invitation and inspiration, and how these principles are explained is something I can talk about. I repeat, the words are invitation and inspiration work together to create smooth, comfortable and quite conversing conversation. So once again, the word invitation and inspiration, so you just need to be invited, or you invite people to speak and communicate towards working and making conversation skills effective, and also work towards making a very impressive conversation, not just to inspire your own self, but to inspire others as well. So the art of good conversations can be because of lot of reasons again, and you just have to work on the very fact that it's possible to build a conversation out of nothing, but through something that we all can label it as inspiration. Because inspiration can help us build conversation through lot of meaning, through lot of sensibility, and can give you that very reason to make your conversation effective. So today I would like to talk about a certain technique that I was talking about, a technique that can help you build a conversation flow smoothly, that can help you build the conversation, make it more effective. Basically, you can use this conversation in any part of the part of your life, that is either if you are at a university level, if you are at a school level, if you are at a professional level, or if you are at just in a country where English is the only mode of communication. So let's get introduced to something called mind map, and how this will help us is, it will help us to get all our thoughts out of your mind. It will help us to build thoughts effectively. So mind map as a technique has been proven, has given us a lot of information. This is basically was designed by a management consultant by name Tony Buzan. So he, during his college days, his university days, he found it very tough to revise, recap certain subjects just before the moment of examination, because we all have this tendency to carry that pile of papers, pile of books, and it is impossible to really flip pages continuously and get the information what is that we're looking out for. So he came up with a concept called mind map. Basically it's a visual representation or an image to help you get your conversation and thoughts out, and in a more effective, in a more organized manner. So mind map once again is a visual technique. It can help you get your conversation, your thoughts out in a more effective manner. So just name any topic. So let's take a topic called any topic for that matter, climate. So you place this topic in the center, and what we're going to do is, okay, let me take this off and write this here. It's mind map. So what comes to your mind when I say the word climate? Well, for me it is summer, because the present climate that I am at is summer, different seasons. It is also experiences such as travel. It can also be varying temperatures. It can be because of green revolution. There are a lot of effects which are happening across. Okay. So, this word climate I see getting different terminologies because it is only me who is talking right now, but I am sure you can get your own different terminologies to it. And understand the fact you just have to place in the terminologies and you have to pick up these terminologies and start putting that in sentences. So, the word climate actually associates me so much with the season summer, and there are different seasons that can be projected for climate. Well, many people decide to travel or certain specific places are being traveled only because of its climate, its climatic condition. We have varying temperatures and things are going at a melting point or a melting down point because of the greenhouse effect, because of green revolution which has been happening, and because there is no proper forestation. Instead, there is a lot of deforestation happening which is impacting and affecting the climatic conditions across the globe. So, that is why we have extreme summers and extreme winters and extreme autumns as well in different parts of the globe, which is not going to help a human race to develop and sustain in so called specific countries. So, basically what I am doing right now is we are just picking up the terminologies when putting that in the sentences. That helps me not just to maintain the flow in conversation and communication, it will also help me to organize my thoughts and give out information in just about like one go. So, this is where we can focus on and we can work on a technique called mind map. I would really recommend you guys to pick up, browse a little bit about this topic, learn how it is important and why it is important, how it is helping everyone and how it can be helpful to you. So, example, in the interview, in case you have been placed in a discussion during the interview process, there is a lot of exchange of information that can happen, and now this very exchange of information can actually lead you to lot of thoughts as to how would you clear the concept, what you say, the discussion, how would you clear the concepts and the thoughts which are very much with you and you are not able to get it across to the conversation table. So, you have to be very mindful that you need to not just organize it, but you have to speak in a given stipulated time, and that can only be possible with the word or the concept called mind map. So, likewise I would recommend start putting mind map in your notebook while you are practicing this topic, and once this topic is up, I am sure naturally you can get it in your mind, back in your mind, and you can start putting these thoughts in your conversation. You can use mind map in effectively in everything that you do, be it a day to day conversation, be it a conversation at workplace, or be it conversation at university or college days, and also in the discussion or meaningful discussion, that is interview. Okay. So, let us go ahead and take one more example to better understand this concept. What example can we take right now? Okay, time management. So, this is the topic given to you all, and you have to apply mind map technique in order to get your thoughts out. It is all about managing time. and then to-do list, something to maintain. Then we have a priority list that you can decide of. Talk about all great leaders who have achieved time management and so much of success. That specific example where you failed at time management. How it can help us. The topic time management, like I said, the moment you look at this word, what comes to your mind? So, the moment you look at this word, maybe the words such as self-management can be one of the pointer that can come out. There could be a word called managing time, which is associated with the main topic. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, the name, the personality figures who made it big in the corporate world, and they stand as a complete example to not just follow who they are, but also to follow them in their personal lives as well, because they succeeded. That specific example which made you that yes, time management is important, and it was one of the most embarrassing moments, or maybe a moment which is more like a breakthrough moment of your life, which made you believe why time management is important, and made you believe that how effectively you can lead your life in case you follow this. And then we have how it can help us, that is how it can be of assistance, of any assistance. And then we have something called to-do list as a practice that we start putting our thoughts every day in the morning, and we start working towards these tasks. And then we have a priority list to talk about it, that is a priority list to follow in terms of what are the important first 3 tasks of the day to complete, and then move on to something task, 2 most important tasks, and then what is the least most important task. That's nothing to nothing but the priority list. So it's important to understand that the word time management has lot of association for many, and how we associate certain terminologies to this particular topic plays a very important role, and how we place our thoughts and lead these thoughts in the discussion is all about mind map. So self-management is one of the most important crucial way to acknowledge who you are and what we are doing, and that can only happen how effectively you are following through time management. And managing self is nothing but managing time, and that is time management too, and that one specific instance. So basically again this technique is giving us a lot of thoughts, it is helping us organize our thoughts, it is helping us give out a lot of information while we are trying to give thoughts towards this topic called time management. I would recommend, if you can pick up any other topic, start putting in your thoughts and see how well you can organize it, see how well you can get it to to your understanding. So I want you guys to focus on this whiteboard for about moment or two, and then we can talk about something more. So maybe the camera can be focused on this particular topic for about few moments, and then we can take it from there. So look at the terminologies that have been we just selected, and look at the second most important thing, which is how are we organizing the terminologies towards putting them in conversation. So to talk about it, we have picked up anything that came to our mind, right? So we have not really focused on whether we have to start from the right hand side or the left hand side, or we have to start from towards the left corner of the main topic. Okay. Now that we've learned about topic mind map, I'm sure we will do a little bit of more practice in order to achieve mastery towards it. But we will also understand what are the fundamentals of conversation skills, because that can help us to really get that satisfaction in our mind how this can be helpful, that is mind map. So, a lot of us have been posting information on social networking sites, and at times you get the acknowledgement and at times you do not get the acknowledgement. So, a lot of introverts believe that you can still speak up, but you can speak up on the networking site, but you do not want to speak up in in-person conversation. So, how the responses have been circulated, that certainly does not mean you are good at conversation skills, but we all have to work towards it. So, what do you say when you are face to face? Well, social media, we can do wonders in terms of asking, but how would you start a conversation when you are face to face? So, I will give you a moment's time in order to understand this and get this up for giving us the responses. The few fundamentals where you can master your conversation skills are: be yourself, and that is often advice which has been given by a lot of experts, lot of people who have been doing good in communication industry. Is be yourself the best advice before a job interview at least? Maybe yes, because you dress up nice and you start being to be polite at least on the day of interview, and you sound to be enthusiastic, you want to be enthusiastic again no matter what you are like. So, these are nothing but we are staging ourselves in front of a set of audience to make you believe who you are for that particular moment and that instance of your behavior. So, let us understand what does be yourself actually mean. So, you are not the same person moment to moment, face it, you can be moody. That is, we all have to go by the statement. So, every moment, every behavior is changed, and we just accepted the way I present myself on social media like LinkedIn or Facebook or any other social media for that matter, Instagram or WhatsApp, I behave and present myself absolutely opposite to how I am in face to face conversation. So, there is a saying called fake it until you make it. Well, it is actually true in case of learning language, in case of making your conversations effective as well. So, you are not the same person moment by moment like we have just spoken, and it is very important. Does acting a bit in social settings mean you are dishonest? Well, maybe on social media, but at least in face to face interview discussion you have to act till you actually get through your act proper. So, this is something you have to do it to a level where you really make it in terms of conversation. So, researchers have proven that putting your best foot forward actually reveals the real you are. So, there are a lot of research work which has been done around this particular conversation skills effectiveness, and it has been said time and again that people who talk face to face often can certainly succeed. People who are introvert and shy might have to really practice a lot instead of just being away from face to face conversation. Emphasize similarity, that is, there is extensive research on something very similar in almost every conceivable way, from background to word choice. Emphasizing similarity improves our social relationship. So, each time there is an improvement in social relationship, there is a certain amount of trust, a rapport is created where you can actually make yourself believe that people trust you, and people might respect you for whatever reasons again. So, let us be quite there in terms of getting this up. So, when salespersons were told to mimic the body language of listeners, it was really noticed by sales increase of about 20%. Let me share this thought with you. So, each time I share a body language, where I copy the body language of the speaker as a listener, it is been told that instantly I can create that spark and relationship with the person. Likewise, salespersons are often told if they can mimic the body language or rather copy the body language of the customers, of the prospective clients, they can actually increase the sales by 20%. Isn't it amazing? I mean, this is a research which has been conducted time and again. So, body language aspect as well plays a very important and effective role in conversation, and it is important that I follow the right method, I follow the right body language advices despite I have my pronunciation, my conversation skills in place, and I do not follow the body language rule, I am still at, and I have still ruined my entire presence and my entire experience as such. So, to talk about it, despite the rather obvious nature of copycat animation, only 8 of 69 subjects detected by mimicry. There is a lot of reasons that mimicking body language can lead towards effective conversation as well. Get them talking about what interests them. Like we said, small talk can certainly help you to start the conversation, and however, to make your conversation more effective, get the person talking about what interests them, and that's something is a great deal because every human being loves to do so, and that can only happen when we start getting it to a moment where we believe that we are being trusted, we believe that we have been hoped by the other person to follow the interest of not just the person's interest level, but also they can start showcasing the similar interest with you. So, people who have trouble with conversation always say the same thing, but what do I talk about? So, there is one phrase that we all have to remember and avoid from our life, what do I talk about? So, let me make a note of it here. So, what do I talk about is something we all have to go back, question ourselves once, and understand that there should not be a reasoning for us not to connect with strangers, not to connect with people whom we are supposed to connect with, maybe at workplace, maybe at university, or maybe during the interview. What do I talk about has to be completely erased from your mind, and instead you should say what cannot I talk about. I mean, what is that I cannot talk about. That is, you can talk technically about anything following the rules of the language, rules of the small talk, keeping those things in mind, and working towards mastering mind map technique can certainly help you build where you are leading towards the intense desire that you all hold in order to work and master your communication skills. So, that is where you have to really be enough in terms of understanding. And the other thing to keep in mind is make people feel good. That is also one of the best reasons why people make conversation success, and they at least at the workplace, where they make people feel good. And how to keep a conversation going? Well, avoid extremes, that is, don't dominate a conversation, but don't be a non-contributor either. So, it is very important that you cannot be aggressive, neither you cannot be passive in a conversation, in a discussion. That is, do not dominate and do not be a non-contributor. So, get this up, start to be a contributor, avoiding the reasons of not being high on domination. That's something, excuse me, that's something we have to work. And in order to make the conversation effective, these are the pointers. Once again, I like to repeat. Well, the first fundamental to remember in order to 5 secrets that will help you to master conversation skills are simple: be yourself, and it is suggested, it is often a bad advice, and then emphasize equality, get the people talking about what interests them, and then talk about make people feel good, and then how to keep a conversation going is something we have to keep in mind as well. And that can only happen by all the attempts that we make, and the attempts that we are going to make are going to be very simple, and these are going to help you improve your conversation skills. Well, there are a lot of suggestions, and there are a lot of ways to improve your conversation skills. Again, one way could be to talk slowly, because that's something we all ponder, we all have to ponder, because Telugu as a language, Hindi as a language, we all coming from a background of Indian languages, where our languages are high on rate of speech, and that is where the interference of first language would come into English language while we are speaking and interacting. Hold more eye contact. It's very important to build that trust. Notice the details. It's very important that we are very detailed in our conversation. Give unique compliments and genuine compliments to the person you're talking. Express your emotions. Offer interesting insights, that is enlightening the person with specific information. Use the best words that can make the conversation sound more effective. So, well, these are the suggestions in order to make your conversation more effective and make it more positive. To talk about effective conversation as well, that is effective communication, it can certainly be achieved only when you can be building a good relationship with other people, when you are greatly reducing your stress by genuinely interacting and connecting with people, your anxiety goes down too. In fact, improving your social support is instead a better and mental health in general to make your conversations good as well, since having good friends can act as a buffer for all the feelings that we undergo, all your bad moods, your negativities. This is exceptionally something we all have to work on, that is being a socially anxious and desperately wanted person by our friends. That's one of the greatest achievement that we all can work on. So, build up your confidence interacting with the others, develop strong communication skills through this, and this can only happen through repeated work on implementation of your feedback, working towards certain techniques. Why are communication skills important? Well, in the next consecutive video, we will certainly work towards getting a better understanding about why they are important, and how we can actually again structure our communication when we are giving out certain piece of important information to the listener, maybe to the stakeholders. So, thank you for watching. This is more about a conversation starter, that is how do I maintain the flow, how do I maintain conversation fluency, and today's video session was all about a technique that we learned called mind map. If you have any specific questions, do drop in the comment box below, and we will certainly would love to hear from you. And the next consecutive video is going to be alongside with what we have learned on this topic, and we recommend you to really go back, practice, come back and share your observations. So, this is it. This brings to the end of our video tutorial for today.